May 29th, 1453, 5:43 in the morning. The walls of Constantinople, walls that had stood for over 1,000 years, have just fallen. The city is his. Mehmed II is 21 years old, and in a few hours, he will sit down for breakfast. This is not a story about a battle. Battles tell you what a man did. Breakfast tells you who he was. Most history books give you the conquest, the cannons, the ships, the walls. But nobody talks about what happened in the 6 hours after the city fell, before the celebrations, before the speeches, before anyone else was even awake. To understand that morning, you need to understand one thing about Mehmed. He was not impulsive. Every single thing he did, every word, every gesture, every meal was deliberate, calculated. Even on the greatest morning of his life. The first thing Mehmed did after entering the city was not celebrate. He prayed. Fajr, the pre-dawn prayer, on a simple rug, in the middle of what used to be enemy territory. His generals stood at a distance. Nobody spoke. When he finished, he stood up slowly. And only then did he give the order. Prepare the morning meal. Here's the first thing that surprises people. Ottoman sultans did not eat like kings at breakfast. Not the way you're imagining. No feast, no banquet hall full of generals raising their cups. Mehmed ate alone. That was the rule. The sultan's breakfast table was set for one. Always. But the number of dishes, that part was anything but simple. 42 dishes. That's the number recorded in Ottoman palace kitchen logs for a sultan's morning spread. Honey from the Aegean, white cheese aged in brine, dried figs, flatbread still warm from the stone, rose water to cleanse the palate between bites. Each dish brought in silence, each servant entering with eyes down. One wrong move at that table, one sound, one spill, and your career in the palace was over. Those 42 dishes had been prepared since 3 a.m. The palace kitchen, even in a military camp, ran on a schedule tighter than the army itself. Head cook, sous-cook, tasters. Yes, tasters. Every single dish was tasted before it reached Mehmed. Not for flavor, for poison. Now, here's where it gets interesting. That morning, May 29th, Mehmed made one change to his usual routine. He allowed 3 people to be present while he ate. His head vizier, his personal physician, and one young page, a boy no older than 15, whose only job was to refill the water cup. Why those 3? Because after breakfast, Mehmed was going to do something that had never been done before. And he needed witnesses. But before that, what did he wear? This is where the historical record gets thin. But we know enough. On that morning, Mehmed did not wear armor. The battle was over. Armor would have said, "I am a soldier." Instead, he wore his ceremonial kaftan. Deep crimson, gold thread so dense the fabric barely moved. A turban set with a single ruby the size of a thumb. He was dressed not as a conqueror, but as a ruler. A conqueror takes a city. A ruler becomes the city. And then he walked in. Hagia Sophia. For 900 years, the greatest church in the world. His soldiers had already been inside. Some had taken gold, some had taken silk. Mehmed walked in alone. He bent down, picked up a handful of dirt from the floor, and poured it over his turban. That gesture, dirt on the head of a sultan, it had a name. Tevazu, humility. It was a message to God, to his soldiers, to history. I did not do this. Something larger than me did this. Within the hour, he issued a written decree. The city's churches would be protected. Its people, Christian, Jewish, Greek, would not be harmed. He signed it with his own hand. This too was calculated. An empire is not built on one morning. It is built on what comes after. His soldiers were watching all of this. 21 years old, ate alone, prayed before celebrating, put dirt on his own head. These were men who had followed him for 2 months of siege. Cold nights, failed assaults, doubt. And now they watched their Sultan walk into the greatest building in the world and choose humility over triumph. That is not something you forget. That is not something you disobey. By noon, Constantinople had a new name, Istanbul. By evening, Mehmed had already begun planning what to build next. He was 21. He had 32 more years on the throne. And he never, not once, lost the habit he practiced on that first morning. Pray first. Eat alone. Dress like a ruler, not a soldier. Then, get to work. What does a man eat after his greatest victory? Honey, warm bread, white cheese, 42 dishes, alone, in silence. The same breakfast he had every other morning of his life. Because for Mehmed II, there was no greatest victory. There was only today and tomorrow. If you want more stories like this, the ones history books skip, subscribe to the Janissary.